Welcome to the Business of Dance podcast, where you'll learn what it takes to create your dream professional dance career.
Join us as we dive into the insights and experiences of the world's top dance industry professionals, including dancers, choreographers, agents, casting directors, educators, and other dance industry experts.
We explore a diverse range of topics, from personal development and mental skills to audition techniques, creating meaningful industry connections, social media marketing, seeking out dance agents and casting opportunities, on-the-job etiquette, talent unions, pitching to the media, health, finances, and so much more.
Here is your host, Menina Fortunato.
So we got a really exciting guest that I'm really excited for you guys to meet. He is a talent agent. He's also a manager, a producer, and the founder of MGMT Artists. He's been in the industry for over 20 years, and he's helped launch and develop the careers of many actors, models, singers, and other performers who appeared in major TV, films, commercials, and even Academy Award nominated productions. He's also a managing partner of iPop, one of the world's leading talent discovery events, connecting aspiring performers with agents, managers, casting directors, and producers. He's also a voting member of the Television Academy and is very passionate about helping the next generation of talent break into the industry, similar to me, and build lasting careers. Please help me welcome Herman Morales. Welcome, welcome. Hey.
Hello.
So good to have you. And I'm excited that you finally get to enter my world and meet some of my incredible Business of Dance mentees. So let's start at the beginning. I know you're not our typical guest, like you're not a professional dancer by any means, but you are in the entertainment world and you do work with a lot of talent that are multi-hyphenated, that dancers, actors, models, blah, blah, blah. But how did that even begin? Like, take us back. Were you a performer once upon a time? How did you even get into the entertainment industry? I don't even know the story. So please share.
Awesome. Yes. So my career started many years ago. Growing up as a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. I mean, I was one of those kids who was constantly begging my parents and my mom, pretty much saying, "Mom, please put me in acting classes. Send me away to those summer camps. I want to learn how to be a dancer, an actor, a singer, and all the kind of fun stuff. Pretty much be like a musical, artist kind of kid." But, like most parents, my mom, single parent, she's like, no. She's like, "I want you to become an accountant, a fireman, and a lawyer," or something along those lines. So, of course, I had to listen to my parents halfway until one day I went to an open call audition. I was about 18 years old. I was in college. I was studying business, and I heard this ad on the radio. And so I pretty much went to, an open call. And from there, I did a showcase, I auditioned, I did a monologue, and then I started my training. And then a showcase is kind of like a version for the acting world where you perform a monologue or a commercial, or if you're a dancer, you'll probably perform a dance routine. There was a panel of agents there. From there, I got an agent, and I started traveling all over the United States doing like high fashion runway shows, flew all over the US, and then finally landed back home in California. And kind of like the highlight of my acting career was that I did a McDonald's commercial, and then that was it.
Love it.
So that was the highlight of my acting career. At the same time, my agent, who was representing me at the time, knew that I was studying business in college, and he offered me a job opportunity. He said, "Herman, you know what? I'm getting ready to promote my current assistant. You're always here coming into the office, asking questions, helping out. Do you want to know what it's like to, be an agent and represent actors, develop them, and everything else?" So I figured, you know what? This is a great opportunity for me to learn both sides of the field and also make a livelihood for myself. Because when you're 18, 19, 20 years old in college, trying to maneuver all those different things, you can't always have the best, income as possible. So I said, let's do it. And so from there, it just kind of became an assistant to a junior agent to an agent. And then in 2010, I got the opportunity to be one of the heads of MGMT Artists agency, which I kind of started. So that's kind of like the short version of it.
You were a performer that kind of got deviated into becoming an agent, which I guess wasn't a part of the original plan, but you never looked back. It seems like the performer in you didn't be like, let me try this, or you were sold once you got in the other side.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I started making, money as an agent. So I was like, okay, this is something where I can kind of progress my career. And a part of me always wanted to go back into it. I said, okay, I'll stabilize myself, then I'll be able to go back. But then by that time, I became so engraved into the representation world and helping artists and giving advice. And I mean, still to this day, I'll go back in and I'll take an improv class just to kind of keep my chops up. I'll go into a theater class just to kind of always understand what every single artist is going through, especially as the industry's changed throughout the years. So I go back as a hobby, kind of like, playing soccer here and there, but not as an actual, competitive actor.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, I think that's great that you encompassed your business education with your passion for entertainment and clearly found a perfect marriage. Does anybody have interest in being an agent on the call or being a talent manager or anything in that vein? Or are they all there like, I just want to be on camera? I just want to be...
So like, no, I'm just dancing it up, doing Broadway.
Maybe not yet. Maybe one day they'll have, because honestly, a lot of agents I know are ex-performers. They understand the agent relationship very well. And then there comes to a point in their career where they're like, oh, let me dabble on this other side. And then they find joy and passion and pleasure on the other side as well. So tell us what you do now currently. So what is your role at MGMT? And then also, let's start with that. And then we'll talk about iPop as well.
Awesome. So my day-to-day is I pretty much sit behind the computer screen every single day. I review what we call the breakdowns. And there's two types of breakdowns. And the breakdowns are what we receive from the networks, which is like Paramount, Disney, Fox, Universal, of all the new TV shows that are coming out. And it's kind of like reading a book every single day. So this new TV show, let's just call it X Project, is coming out and they'll say, I'm looking for these particular roles. And then it's my job to look at my roster of actors that I currently represent and figure out, okay, who fits this description the best possible? And then I send headshots, resume, and then of course, little pitch emails, which means we have to submit like a little something to the casting office as to why they should be picking one of our particular talents, what's the specific skill set that they have. And then the same thing applies to the advertisers for McDonald's, Old Navy, Target, Macy's. Whenever they're doing a new campaign, a new commercial, we receive again the description of their new campaign, and we have to kind of mix and match their storyboard with the actors that they're looking for. So that's kind of like my day to day. And then if the actors book a job, then that's the fun part for me, because then I get to review the terms and conditions of their contracts, get to try to negotiate a little bit more, maybe ask for more money or maybe ask for better terms, or whatever it might be that, we can try to help the artists always have the best possible contract as we can.
I love that. Now, with your current talent roster, who do you represent? Age group, specific talents, and anyone you care to do a shout out for?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, the office has a little bit over 300 actors that we represent. We do all ages, as little as 4 years old to over 80 something years old. My oldest client, he's 92 years old. His name is Stanley B. Herman. He's been, before my time, he was in one of the originals Back to the Future projects. So definitely. So he's what we call like very old Hollywood when he talks and speaks. He's 92, but he's been on TV shows like Entourage, CSI, and just like a lot of other stuff. But a lot of my, actors are what we call recurring guest stars, which means these are actors that you see on a show and you see them 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different episodes, and then you don't ever see them anymore on that particular show. And they go on and to do another show and another show. One of my top guys right now, his name is Ben Giroux. Do you guys know the Disney show or Nickelodeon show, called Henry Danger by any chance? Anybody out there? Yeah, okay. Do you guys know the character named the Toddler out there in Henry Danger? Okay, so Gabrielle Harrison. Okay, awesome. So that's one of my guys. Another one, his name is Adrian Armontes. Anybody familiar with the Disney show, The Sweet Life on Deck, by any chance? Anybody? No, a couple? All right. So I'm kind of aging myself a little bit. So all right. So if you guys know The Sweet Life on Deck, Adrian plays the character of Esteban, the funny, Hispanic guy, always speaking in Spanish and getting the kids in trouble. Okay, perfect. Awesome. She's one of our actors at our office.
The reaction was priceless.
Yes.
I love it.
Awesome. So that's one of our guys as well. Somebody way a little bit more like Wizards of Waverly plays. His name is Daniel Simonis. And if you guys were fans of that show, he plays the character Dean, who was Selena Gomez's first boyfriend on that show and then gets eaten by the werewolf towards the end of the season. Okay, awesome. So I'm glad you guys are still in touch with Disney Nickelodeon. Way to go. Perfect. So those are a lot of like my success stories that I have. throughout my career. And then, of course, other actors that have done like other, different TV shows and different projects. There's one kid I do want you guys to keep an eye out. He's not super famous yet, and you might have no idea who he is, but give him a couple more years, and he's going to be, in my opinion, like the next Tom Holland or Leonardo DiCaprio. But his name is Redding Munsell. And Redding was one of these. He's 6 years old when he started. He's now 10 years old. I know he's the cutest guy ever with an amazing personality and the best parents in the world. But, his parents were looking to get him involved in the industry, and they found iPop. He went through this competition, met literally about 150 agents at that event. Thankfully, he was able to pick my firm to represent him. And within his very first year, he lands about 4 different commercials. And then from there, he got an audition for a short film with the actress called Brittany Snow. And that particular project ended up getting nominated for an Oscar, which is not bad if you're like 8 years old, which is really cool.
Wow. That's impressive for an 8-year-old to be a part of a nominated project. That's great.
Definitely. He got a chance to go to the Oscars. So I was like, man, I haven't even been to the Oscars.
Don't you love it when your clients get to do cooler things that you ever wanted to do? I've got 5 mentees that are going to FIFA World Cup for Dancing with Shakira at the finals in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, I've never done that. That's so cool. But you know what? That's one of the biggest joys, though, I feel like when you are developing talent, is to be able to see them achieve their great dreams, and to be able to facilitate that is really a gift. So amazing. So clearly you're representing some incredible talent, doing some big things. Now, how would one submit to be represented? What are the different pathways, the different ways that you typically scout or recruit talent?
So there's different ways. The hardest route is, in our firm, and it can be different for other agencies, is just submitting straight to the company. Because what happens is every weekend, we'll all get together at our office, we'll pull the submission report, and we'll get literally like 200 to 300 submissions a week. Oh. And if somebody doesn't really catch our attention, or the headshots are not proper, it just kind of goes into we'll follow up later. And later could be a year, it could be 2 years, or it could be when an intern or somebody comes in and just has the time to kind of review all those different things. So that's one route, and a lot of agencies kind of do that. The second route, which is kind of like my favorite, is I love attending talent showcases, whether that's from a dance studio showcase, whether that's from a musical theater camp showcase, or a kind of convention/summit showcase, because I get a chance to actually see you there for a couple of days. And I know that whoever's working with you, you've trained for either a couple of months. You understand at least the principles of kind of what you expect. So for me, attending showcases is a lot better, because if I'm really interested, I'll come up, I'll go say hi to your parents. I'll get a chance to kind of see your personality a little bit better. And even if your materials aren't really good, let's say you gave me a headshot at the event and I don't like the headshots, I got a chance to see you perform in person, which is something that we don't get to do when you actually just submit your regular materials to us online. We might go, it doesn't look proper. But then in person, it's like, oh my God, you look nothing like your pictures. And that's where the development comes in. That's where we as reps say, let's get you better headshots. Let's change your hair color a little bit, or let's cut it, or let's give you different looks, different typecasting. And then we really package you up accordingly. So short answers, showcases are the best for me.
Okay, amazing. Speaking of showcases, that transitions beautifully into iPop. Tell us, what is iPop? How are you involved? And how might a dancer be eligible to even attend?
Awesome. Yes. So iPop, the name of it stands for the International Presentations of Performers. And that's kind of like where I got my start as well, back in like 2003, pretty much. What iPop is, it's like a version of American Idol, Project Runway. So you think you can dance. All of those line up into one for inspiring artists, of course, actors, models, singers, and dancers. And it's a 5-day event where performers from all over the United States and other parts of the world get to come. They do Q&A panels, they do workshops. The dancers are dancing, doing dance competitions, just like you normally would if you traveled all over the US and did your dance competitions and the troops. The actors are up there performing monologues, they're performing scenes, they're performing skits, kind of like mini Saturday Night Lives. The singers are up there performing, songs, and you're there for 5 days with about 150 different talent agents, managers, and casting directors. And you're performing all week long and doing workshops and doing Q&A panels for the parents. And it's just a pretty much overall fun week. And then at what happens during that week, we're all set there kind of like a bunch of nicer version of Simon Cowell's, taking our notes, figuring out, okay, which kids do we see have the most potential? Who are we looking for? Because what happens every season for us in our firm, we'll have what we call like our wish list. And what a wish list is for us is pretty much saying, okay, we need more kids that have this particular age range or they're this particular typecast. And that's based off whenever projects are coming out. If I don't have somebody that, let's just say, is with red hair and freckles and a 9-year-old boy who's, kind of short and chubby, then I want to find that little boy that kind of looks like that. So that's kind of like our wish list. And we get to see the talent perform at this iPop events. And that's actually where I found Reddy at that event. So his name is Reddy Mansell, and it's the little kid I was just talking about who was part of an Oscar-nominated project. And that's kind of the events.
Amazing. And who else? Because there's some big names that have come through iPop. Who are some other talent that have attended the event that these kids might know?
Yeah, so Olivia Holt, if you guys are familiar with Olivia Holt, she attended iPop many years ago. But the biggest name that everybody probably knows is Ariana Grande. So Ariana Grande got a chance before she was Ariana Grande and everything else. She got a chance to go and perform on the main stage. So what happens is for the singers is we kind of put on like a little mini concert for each individual performer, and they go on this beautiful stage and they kind of perform. And there's so many other modes. Jason Batalon, the guy who plays Ned on Spider-Man. He's from iPop as well. Natalie Pash is from iPop. I mean, the list goes on. I wish I could remember every single person. But there's quite a handful. There's over 100 top celebrities that came out of iPop at the event. And so what ended up happening around 2021, I got the opportunity to become a managing partner of iPop. And so it just kind of felt right for me because I was already kind of doing it. I got to start from it as well. And I figured, well, I've loved this event. I attended for a little about 20 years now. So why not help and be a little bit of the face of the event as well and kind of help take it to the next stages I think it needs to go to.
Now you mentioned 20 years. How long has this event been going on?
Since 2004.
Okay, amazing. So 22 years?
22? Yep, 22 years.
Okay,
yep.
Amazing. Now, how, if dancers wanted to get more information, what would be the best way to find more information on iPop?
Awesome. So of course, you guys can go to the website, which is ipopla.com, just to kind of give you guys an idea. But to fill out in like an audition form to be considered, I would go to mykidontv.com. So once again, that is mykidontv.com. And there is like what we call an application form that you can fill out. And once you fill that out, make sure that your parents do it if you're under the age of 18 and you have, parents' consent and all that stuff. And what we'll do is we call like an open call where we'll test you out. We'll see your dance routine. We'll kind of see your resumes. And my advice is, I know a lot of you guys are dancers. If you're a dancer, we always recommend to go in with 2 at least criteria, meaning go in as your dancer because that's your strongest point. That's what you guys have probably been doing since you were 6 years old. But also go in as an actress, especially if you're under the age of 18 years old, because us agents and managers, we love working with kids who can do as many as possible. Meaning if you can sing, we love that. If you can dance, we love that. If you can act, we love that. If you can model, we love that. So the more skills you guys have, the higher chances of you guys getting more opportunity for representation. For example, if my memory serves me correctly, Redding had like 44 callbacks at the event. That pretty much means that 44 different talent agents and managers wanted to work with him, offer him a contract for representation, or at least have a meeting with him and go to his office and just talk about that. So that's why I say, thankfully, he was able to choose my firm, and he's been doing pretty good overall.
That's amazing. Now, do we want to share what the little surprise that you want to give, or do you want to wait till the end?
Let's let him wait a little bit longer.
Okay, wait till the end because there's a surprise at the end. So let's do that. So you stick around. We got to keep it to the end of the movie, right? We can't give away the goodies in the middle of the movie, so we got to keep you to the end. All right. Well, this is great. I think between acting as an agent through MGMT plus acting as one of the members of iPop, you clearly are in the space of developing talent, discovering talent, and supporting talent. Who has interest in also singing or acting or modeling, and you want to be multi-hyphenated? Okay, pretty much everyone on this call. There you go, ahead of mine. Now I'd love to open it up for some Q&A. So first up, we have Jael.
Hi, my name's JL. I am 23. I currently live in Scottsdale, Arizona. My question is what type of skills do you build up as an agent? Because the main reason I haven't really considered it as a career path is because to me, becoming an agent seems harder than being a dancer. I don't understand like what even type of qualifications you need for that position. You kind of told us how you got into it. So I'd just love to learn the kind of skill set you built up to then become the agent that you are.
Amazing. Awesome. Great question. Thank you for that. So there's different levels of how to actually become an agent. My recommendation, it really depends, right? So it's all about how much you know about the entertainment industry. And I always recommend is you don't have to become an entertainment lawyer, but at least learn a little bit of entertainment law. So that's kind of like one class that I would take in college if you're going for that. You don't have to do that, but it's completely fine. It's almost kind of like getting a real estate license. The more you know about it, the better. The second thing is you also want to understand, pretty much the craft of acting in the entertainment industry. When I say acting, I'm just going to put that into the umbrella of also dancing, singing, and modeling, because it all kind of goes into one. And so a lot of things you want to know is, a little bit of cinematography. So for example, on TV shows, there's different types of TV shows. There's 3 cam types of shows where it's literally just filmed with 3 different computers and you have 3 different cameras and you have, a live audience. And then you have the more common TV show that we see now on Netflix where it kind of looks like a TV, like an actual film in a way. So if you understand the basics of those, it's gonna open up a lot of opportunities for you guys in knowing how to properly represent artists. But let's break it down. Let's simplify it. Let's say, I don't want to do all of that stuff. The easiest path would be is going intern for a talent agency and then going intern for a casting director's office and kind of watch them how they do their job. And how I did it is I kind of learned on the field as well. Of course, I was taking business school and I learned about contracts and negotiations, but most of my training actually became from actually working for the agents that hired me. And from there, I learned the terms and conditions on how TV contracts were made. From there, I myself took workshops with casting directors so I can learn how they actually work with agents. I took workshops with other talent agents and other talent managers as I was kind of learning the ropes. So the easiest path, if you don't want to do all that college stuff and do all those different things, is going and intern for an agency, going intern for a casting director, and then the final internship is going intern for a production company. And that's going to be, in my opinion, the best school that you're probably ever going to get. Is probably, don't tell anybody I said this, but it's probably better off than going to college with that. Okay. So that would be one of the best internships. Now, if you want to, let's say, oh my God, I wish I could be an agent for CAA or William Morris Endeavor or Paradigm, one of like the top 5 agencies in the world, that you do have to get some type of a college degree because they won't even consider an internship if you're not going in for that, because their goal is to eventually hire you and make you one of their main agents. But if you want to go in, let's say, in the second tier level of agencies, you can just intern all around. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, great question. Well, I think you went to school for business, right?
Yeah, I was a dual major in entrepreneurial studies and dance performance.
So that's what I'm saying. You guys both have very similar educational paths, aside from the dancing part, but the business part. But I concur, the on-the-job training is, there's nothing that compares to it. You can study the theory in the books of everything, but until you do the thing, and almost every agent, by the way, that I've ever interviewed have all gotten through some kind of entry-level internship, working at the front desk, receptionist, junior agent, or was a client at one point and then went to the other side. So there was no actual certification or official degree or diplomacy or anything that is required, to my understanding, to become an agent. It really is about who you know and getting your foot in the door and learning as you go. But entertainment law, I would say, is probably really valuable because you're dealing with contracts every day. And to understand, because you're advocating for dancers. You're not an attorney, but you're advocating for talent. So understanding the legal documents, which I do not like going through, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And now more than ever, it's so much easier. I mean, I hate saying this, but now you got AI. AI is such a great tool to learn. I wish I had AI coming up. It's one of the best tools in the world. And then also there's SAG, which I won't go into too many details, which is, the union for actors. they give you breakdowns of what the terms and conditions are. So just like an attorney, you have to do research. An agent, when there's a new project or commercial coming out, we still have to do a little research, check in with the union, and see if the terms and conditions fall under that. So that's the boring part, in my opinion. The fun part is reading the scripts and trying to get your actors in the door. So
Totally. And you're so true about the AI part. I wish, like, when I used to read through contracts, I actually had to use my brain and be like, what does this word mean? Now I'm like, ChatGPT, you're the best attorney on the planet. Go through this contract and point out all the sections that are an area of concern, anything I should renegotiate, anything. And it totally points it out in seconds. I'm like, oh, this is a dream.
definitely.
Because I'm sure you used to have to go line by line and make sure
I
everything.
used to have to go line by line. Yeah, my boss used to give me a contract, 24 pages, and would say, okay, go ahead and redline this for me so that way I know what to look for. I mean, he already knew what it was, but it was part of the training process, and I had to try to redline as many things that I thought we can negotiate for the artist.
Yeah, no, totally. All right, great question. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Gabrielle.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Harris. I'm 13 and I'm from Fort Myers, Florida. So I was wondering earlier, you were talking about how when people submission, if they don't catch your eye, they kind of get put into a spam folder. So what are some things I can do when I submit that will catch your eye, or some tips you have to catch your eye in the submission?
Amazing. Great question. So the number one, the first rule of thumb I always recommend artists is try to get the best headshots possible. Remember, you're the brand, right? So a brand is, I don't like always saying it this way, but your brand is Coca-Cola or Lexus or whatever it is. So you're never going to see Coca-Cola put in a Coca-Cola can, kind of like, maybe it's a little dirty, it's a hot summer and it's a dirty can. No, you're going to see the Coca-Cola dripping with beautiful eyes, and you can't wait to open it up and it sparkles and it's going to be delicious to drink because it's that nice summer day. Same thing for your headshots. You want to have that nice, great commercial headshot where the lighting is perfect. You have the proper outfit. You're smiling just like so, and you already have an idea of like your particular typecast. So if your headshots aren't proper, it's not going to even want us to go to the next level and look at your resume. And, selfies don't count. That's like a big no-no. If you're just like, something, it doesn't count. If the lighting's off, it doesn't work. You want to have like a proper, good, solid, headshots. And that's like the number one. The second thing is your resume. Make sure you just kind of follow a certain format. Tell us your training, everything that you've done. If you already had some experience, you can lean with that. You can pretty much, hypothetical, let's say you got a chance to do a, dance competition and you went all over the US and you practically won first place in at least 5 of one. You can say 5-time winner dance competition with your headshot. That's going to be like, oh, let's take a quick peek. And then it'll make us want to read more about you. And hopefully then we'll get one of us in the office going, maybe let's look at a roster. Maybe let's call the parents and let's see if we can have a meeting with you. So headshots number one, resumes number two.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Any other tools, any other assets that you look at, like reels or websites or social media that they should also focus on in a submission?
Yep. Yes. If you have a website, that's like really important. On your website, you want to keep it simple, but have your reels. So if you're a dancer, give us 30 seconds of your best dance routines up there. Multiple takes is always great. If you're, again, in competition, make sure you have that. Your social media, and more than ever, is extremely important. Go out there, brag as much as about yourself as you possibly can. The bigger your social media is, the better it's going to be, because we also look at that as well. So we'll look at your headshot. We'll look, if you have a website, we'll look at your website. If you have reels, we'll look at almost every single one of them. And then your social media, we'll look towards the very end, because if your social media is really good, then we can leverage that and help you get more, hopefully, auditions, especially in the commercial market. If you're a really good dancer, there was a season where Old Navy had a lot of dance commercials going on. And I remember we had to submit a bunch of dance, materials, and we didn't really have that many dancers. But then that forced me to go to different dance studios and be like, I need more dancers. And so then we start kind of packaging up the dancers for those Old Navy commercials.
That was my era. I remember the Old Navy, the Gap.
Yes.
Then Apple. Apple used to do a lot of dance commercials. That my era was all about those commercials. And I feel like they're starting to come back. There was Gap recently that had a big dance one. Am I hallucinating? I forget.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much, Gabrielle, for your question. Next up, we have Michaela. Introduce yourself and what is your question?
Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm 17 years old from Virginia. And my question is, so I take voice lessons. So when I send in auditions, I tend to send a singing one too. But whenever people do send in auditions, do you get more like pop songs or like, is it fair and fair with like musical theater? Because that's what I was trained to do.
Yeah, I mean, we get both. We get all kinds. I always say submit your strongest vocal choice, not the song that you like the best, but the song that makes you stand out the best. So whichever song is going to enhance your vocals, that's the one that I would recommend. And
Okay.
what I also recommend is don't submit a song of you singing sometimes. Just submit a tape of your vocals. Let us use our imagination to see how you're kind of singing overall. So have your headshot, have your resume, unless you're actually performing a real, song at a concert or at a musical theater, and that's you really singing, then of course submit that as well. But sometimes we like to see kind of like a voiceover clip of just your vocals for a good 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Trinity. Introduce yourself and what is your question?
Hi, I'm Trinity. I'm 18 from Pennsylvania. And I was wondering, when you're scouting dancers specifically, what are traits or skills or qualities that you seek out in dancers that make you want to scout them?
So for me, every time I want to work with the dancer, I kind of like a requirement is I want them to also be actors as well. The reason is because, that's kind of like what we specialize in. And so if the dancers that I work with are not willing to be able to act, there's not much I will be able to do unfortunately, for that dancer. So I always tell my dancers, please, take some acting classes or do a little bit of, theater work. So that way, when we get you an audition, you can actually do that. And there was a point in my career where Disney loved working with kids who can act, sing, and dance. And so part of our pitch would be is she's a great actor, of course, but here's her real skills that she can actually dance. She's been part of a dance, company for X amount of years. She's won so many awards, or she's traveled all over the US doing dance competitions. She has 30 plus trophies. She knows how to do ballet, jazz, dance, ballroom, tango, flamenco, whatever it is, right? So she would pretty much have all those particular skill sets. So for the dancers, I think if you take acting classes, it's going to help and expand your acting career and your performance career as much as possible, even though I know dances is what you really want to do, but it can open up doors to going to Broadway as well. A lot of Broadway actresses are either singers or dancers, and then acting kind of comes, second or third.
Well, all right. Well, thank you.
And you never know when there's going to be a movie that needs a starring character that needs to dance and act. And I can tell you, I didn't intend to be an actress by any means, but I kind of stumbled upon some roles because I could do both. Like that's how I booked the role, a guest starring role in Star Trek Enterprise. They wanted 3 actresses that could dance. Dancing was my strong suit. I still had to go in and read for the role, but it's because of the dancing that got me the role, because not very many actresses had the strong dance skills, and equally not many dancers had the strong acting skills. But if you have both, and I was actually the very first Step Up, Jenna Dewan's character. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember that movie. I was up for that with Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan. That's how actually they met, was on that the Step Up, the first Step Up movie. And I went in. I was one of the I didn't book it clearly, but I was one of the few that made it to the end. But they were specifically looking for dancers. Like they wanted real dancers, because some movies have had strong actors with really bad dance doubles. I won't mention any names. If they can find a dancer who can actually act as well, that's like, you cannot teach dance fast enough. I feel like dancing it takes too many years to develop. I think you can develop acting a lot faster than you can develop dancing. So dancers, you are actors. You're just actors of body movement. And how hard is it to communicate through movement without saying a word? Like that's actually hard when you think about it. So don't be scared to open your mouth and act. It will serve you well if you can do both. And then if you can sing, I was a talent I wish I had too, and model, you become way more marketable for agents. So then they can submit you for anything. Like, oh, I can submit her for this and that and this and that. So more tools in your toolbox. Would you agree, Herman?
Most definitely, yes. For example, Ariana Grande, she came in, she always wanted to be a singer, but she came in as an actress first and then landed Sam and Cats. And then shortly after that, that's when she started kicking off her singing career once that season was over.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
yeah. Even Jennifer Lopez before your guys.
Yeah, she was a dancer first. She was
Yeah.
she was a dancer first, and then her big, breakout role with Selena that put her on the map as an actress. And then, well, the rest is kind of history. But she's still, and then the singing career came after that,
Right.
and now she flip flops between the dancing, singing, acting, and does it all. So yeah, you may start off as a dancer, guys, but you might start going into different directions, and you'll find that they're all interconnected in some way. And the more and one helps the other too. When you really understand the acting, it really helps your dancing. When you understand the singing, that really helps your dancing, and vice versa. So I love it. Thank you so much, Trinity, for your question. Next up, we have Kenzie. Introduce yourself, and what is your question?
Hi, my name's Kenzie Ann. I'm 16 years old from New York. And my question is, if you don't receive representation the first time, should you resubmit in the future?
Yes. Always resubmit in the future. You just never know. It could have been one of those, months that for whatever reason, it just didn't happen right away, but always resubmit in the future. Persistence is definitely key. I've had people submit an average of once every 3 months. And then finally I go, you know what? Let's call him in. Let's give him a chance. And before I knew it, they're booking commercials, they're going out for auditions. So the short answer is 100% keep submitting nonstop until you finally get your yes.
Thank
And
you.
what would you say is kind of the sweet spot of following up without being annoying?
Oh, great. Yeah, I would say once every 3 months, especially if you have like one particular agency that you're like, I just really want to get into this agency. Once every 3 months, it's pretty good. But when you resubmit, don't just resubmit the same materials, resubmit with new stuff. This time, go back in and say, hey, I was a part of this musical, or I just did this new dance routine, or submit something new every single time, and letting them know that you're constantly working on your craft. So whether that's new headshots, whether it's a new demo reel, whether it's a new dance competition you won, whatever it might be, anything that's going to let them know that you're constantly growing.
100%. So every time you update your photos and update your demo reels and update your website or book a job, then it's like, hey, new update. Hey, new update.
Exactly. That's the really important one. You just said it. If you were to happen to like book a job on your own, or you attended a casting you just got it somewhere to book whatever it is, that's the best time to resubmit to any agency. And you can use that as your tagline, use that as your subject line. Just booked X project, looking for new rep. That's going to make any representative out there like take the extra time, review your materials and say, okay, what did you actually book? And then it makes us go in and be like, well, let's have a meeting then. And then you get that meeting. And from there, hopefully you get the representation that you're looking for.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kenzie. All right. Next up, we have Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia Nelson. I'm 18 years old and I'm currently in Salt Lake City, Utah. And my question is, as someone who is looking to be very diverse with dance, but then also acting and singing and modeling. And my question is, what kind of materials would you want to see from each of those? And other than just my dance demo reel and the headshot and resume, like what other things from those sides are you looking for?
So if you were to submit and if hopefully I'm understanding your question correctly, you're acting, singing, and dancing, you want to have, like for the dancing, you want to have like your dance materials properly aligned. So I kind of know maybe a quick 30 seconds, maybe a dance headshot as well. What kind of outfit do you normally wear when you're going to be going to your dance competition? Same thing for the acting world. What kind of headshots are you going to be doing? And headshots, there's two types, right? There's your commercial headshot where it's nice and cheesy and bubbly and you can be on a Target, commercial. And then and then you have your theatrical headshot, which is a little bit more serious, more stern. You maybe have some type of a character look or face to you. If you're more of our age, you can be, more of that attorney or doctor kind of role. If you're younger, maybe you could be more of the smart aleck kind of kid or the cheerleader or the school jock or whatever it might be. So those kinds of headshots. If you're interested in commercial print, then you want to have more of a commercial print look, something where it looks like you can be a model for Gap or Old Navy or Guess. Nothing high fashion, but more like commercial print, more lifestyle, especially in California. Hopefully that answered your question. I think I understood there.
Yes, thank you.
One thing that I want you to elaborate on, can you tell them what the difference is between high fashion and commercial print so they understand the different modeling kind of subcategories?
Definitely, yeah. So high fashion is kind of what you would see on a Louis Vuitton, Gucci magazine ad, and something kind of what you would see on a high fashion runway show. So the outfits are a little bit different. The lighting is way different. Everything is assigned just to make you look, just call it this way, more AI kind of generated in a way. So the shots are just, it's really mostly about the outfits that you're really wearing. So it's your outfit is designed to enhance, you, and you're supposed to enhance the outfit in the magazine. Now, commercial print is more lifestyle. You're supposed to show more about, from what we see, is how much fun you're having with this Gap, how much fun you're having with the Levi's jeans in a way. And your headshots are normally half body up or full body, and it's designed to show more of your physique in a way. So high fashion is, so it's this photography taking a picture at this elegant place, or it could be behind the beautiful church, but you have the Louis Vuitton, and it's always going to enhance more of the product in you. And then commercial print in short terms is more about you having fun with the outfit and just kind of showing that you can actually fit this particular mold. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. They kind of cross a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, high fashion, I feel like, is the unrealistic, avant-garde, editorial, fantasy kind of look, whereas commercial print is like everyday humans.
Everyday person. Yeah. It's more lifestyle in a way. So you're not, that's why I was saying it's high fashion is more AI generated, where everybody just looks perfect and not a single wrinkle in your, a certain way, and it enhances everything. And commercial print is more lifestyle. It's all of us, we can all be wearing those particular jeans. We can all be walking down and everything else.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sophia. Next up, we have Alyssa. Introduce yourself and what is your question?
Hi, my name's Alyssa Trinham. I'm 25 years old and I'm from Canada, New Brunswick. My question, you kind of already touched up on this, but how important is experience, I guess? If I want to submit and I'm confident as like a dancer, model, but I didn't take much like acting classes or have like much experience, but I still want to like pursue in that, how would you go about that?
It's important, and sometimes it's not. It's one of those things where it just depends on where you're at. So if I were you and I wanted to get representation in the acting world, I would submit to the commercial departments of the agency, because that's where you'll get your foot in the door. And that's where experience is not going to be in the acting world as high of a requirement per se. So right now, let's say you wanted to submit, you would submit into our development side of the agency. Some agencies will have development departments submit here, or new faces, which means you're kind of brand new as well. And they'll be very specific, or some just have a generic and they just call it just, submit. So I would enhance your particular dance skills and do your commercial skills or your acting skills second, because then from there we can tell you, here's a list of acting coaches that you need to be training with, or here's a list of different casting workshops that you need to kind of go in and kind of network. But what we'll look for, at least in our office, is, okay, you're a strong dancer. Okay, you have dedication. You won the X, Y, and Z. You already package in this world. And then it makes us feel more comfortable that we can then help you and guide you and slowly open doors for you in the commercial department. If you submit, for commercials, you always want to lead off is, I'm currently taking classes. And the best thing to do is kind of do a little research and figure out who kind of is a little bit of that voice of authority in the commercial market in Canada, like which acting coaches teach commercial acting. And then from there, we can say, oh, for example, I know you're training with X acting coach. We know that particular coach. So we feel like, okay, you're really taking it serious, and that'll open up more doors for you in the acting world. So slowly going to the commercial market, and then that'll open up opportunities for you in the theatrical market. Theatrical is a little bit harder to break in. We really look for credits. But again, there's in the acting world, there's no wrong or right. It just sometimes happens if you're doing the work, you put it in the time, and you just catch that person at the right time, they can say, yes, I'm going to represent you across the board for commercials, TV and film and everything. And all of a sudden you're slowly by little, breaking in. So hopefully that answered the question. It's not a yes or a no kind of answer.
It's all the above.
Yes, it's all the above. There's no right or wrong answer on that one. So as long as you're doing in the work, more than likely you will eventually catch the eye of somebody.
Love it. Thank you so much, Alyssa. And it looks like our last question from our mentees is Imogen. Introduce yourself and what is your question?
Hi, my name is Imogen. I'm 12 years old and I'm located in BC, Canada. And my question is, I just got signed with an agent here in Canada. And so my question is, what are your do's and don'ts for a new client?
Great question. So let's see. So every agent's a little bit different. So normally they should have given you like a little welcome packet, right? So a couple do's and don'ts, for example, with us is don't call in the office too many times with the random question. Email it over to us, and then that'll give us enough time to be able to reply back to you. If you're already set up on your casting accounts, don't email us questions too much about, hey, I'm looking at this project. I see this commercial coming up. Oh, can you do X, Y, and Z? Because we're already working on it. But for the most part, every agent will tell you and your parents, and they'll give you like the rules and regulations and kind of like what to do. So I would just kind of follow that one as best as you possibly can. But for us, I'll tell you, like, our biggest pet peeve at the office is it's okay for you to over communicate or send us emails or give us a phone call, because we always want to get to know you. But sometimes a little bit less is more. But the most important thing is, if you get an audition, do whatever it takes to make sure that you turn your audition in. So in our office, we have like a 3-strike policy. If we get you an audition and you miss 3 of them, we let you go from your contracts. And the reason is because we're working so hard every single day trying to get you an audition. And then all of a sudden we call you and you're like, oh, I'm at the dog park with little, Lola's birthday today and we can't make it. Then it's like, what if it took us 4 months to get you your very first audition and then you don't make it? So I would say, no matter what, audition. Even if you don't think you're 100% right for the role, the casting director still called you in for a reason. Your agent submitted the information. They called it in. So somebody in that office wants to see you. So I always say audition no matter what as much as possible. And then you can work out the details later with your reps.
Thank you, Imogen. One thing I would love to know is what is going on currently right now when it comes to auditions. Are you seeing more self-tapes? Are you seeing more in person? Is it a blend? Is it open calls? Is it private calls? What seems to be the trend right now?
So I would say it's about a guesstimation, a good solid 90% are self-tapes. So
really?
Yes. So self-tapes are going to be your guys' bread and butter as much as you can. So make sure that you have the proper backdrops at home. Make sure you get the proper lighting equipment. You can buy it on Amazon. It's probably $50, $60, $80 there somewhere. I recommend a dark gray, not super light blue or green or black, just a dark gray. It was usually the best. Of course, for wardrobe, try to read the character and dress up as best as you possibly can. So we're seeing a lot of self-tapes. The second thing that we see when you start getting auditions, sometimes for theatrical purposes, the casting director will say, we have X amount of spots available for Zoom auditions, which means you get to go on live and interact with the casting director like we're doing right now. If that opens up, be the first one to reply back to your agent and say, hey, see if you can get me on that spot right away. Because there's nothing like you walking in and saying hi and give them that wow factor and show them your personality that you can't really do on a regular self-tape. And then, of course, the final one that we see mostly in commercials is they'll call you in and have you go in and audition. In LA, it's kind of still not as big as it used to be, where, every single commercial you walked into the door. So that's kind of like awesome.
That's amazing, though. I didn't realize it was like 90%. Because in my auditioning days, you were not even being considered unless you walked in that door. In fact, I remember asking, can I do a self-tape? I'm not in town, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, they won't even consider you unless you actually come in the door. Now it's completely reversed. What are some tips on the self-tape? You mentioned the gray background. You mentioned the good lighting and all of that. But what are some rookie mistakes you see people make that they should avoid?
It's usually mostly about the space. So just make sure that your space is correct. Make sure that your lighting is correct. If you're the one I see happen a lot, especially in the TV one for the, theatrical auditions, is where your reader is overpowering your performance, the main artist's performance. So make sure that the reader's reading it and it's still giving a little bit of that personality, but not to overshadow you. So that's kind of like something that I see sometimes where somebody's kind of brand new and they'll have somebody, one of their friends or a relative or somebody help them be a reader, but then the reader's taking it above and beyond, and we can hear the reader's voice stronger than we can actually hear the main artist's voice. Then the other thing I recommend is figuring out your eye line when you're doing self-tapes. A lot of people, don't kind of know where the eye line is. They're looking all over the place. Remember it's a TV audition. So if there's 2 people or 3 people in the room and, the reader's reading for all of them, maybe one person's here, maybe one person's there, and then one person's there. Like really take your time to actually, figure out how to deliver those particular lines. So those are kind of like a little bit of the rookie mistakes a lot of people will do. And remember, listen, right? So when you're auditioning for a TV project, we're having a conversation. So you're not just going to reply back because you know the words. You want to listen, take your time, show the expression, reply back naturally. So I would do that as well. And just in the acting world, we call choices. Figure out what kind of choices you want to make when you're delivering, like the who, the what, the when, the how, all those different emotions. What am I going through? Why am I mad or why am I happy? All those different things. Why are we having this conversation? What's the purpose of this? All those different questions. And also take your time with it. If it's a self-tape, if you have to do it 100 times, do it 100 times until you get it right. There's no reason to kind of rush it. Then the other rookie mistake is you wait until the very last minute to turn it in. So, we only got 30 minutes and you turn it in. That doesn't give us, your reps, any time to give you any redirects. So if you already have an agent and you send in a self-tape, normally we'll say, yep, it's good to go. Or we'll listen to you, be like, oh, I can hear a dog in the background. Or we'll say something, I can't really hear you. Or, the quality came back down or whatever it is. Can you please retake? And then, we'll give you certain directions that you can redo. So if you get the audition, try to get it in as soon as possible if you have a rep, so that way they can look at it. If you don't have a rep and you get an audition, also try to turn it in as soon as you possibly can. There's an old saying that we say, early bird gets the worm. So if you wait until the very last minute, that casting director probably already saw 50 to 60 tapes. And unless you're really, really standing out, they're going to already have somewhat of their selects already lined up on who they want to see, hopefully for the next round.
Absolutely. I love it. What is the best way for our community to connect with you?
You guys can go to my social media, which is usually my name, German_MGMT Artist, or you can go to the actual, company, MGMT Artists. LA is our handles for social media. So both of those.
Thank you, dancers. Again, thank you, Herman. We really appreciate you and your time.
Thank you. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
And that concludes another episode of the Business of Dance podcast.
We hope you found today's conversation insightful and gained valuable knowledge.
Be sure to join us next time for more inspiring interviews with top professionals in the dance industry.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to The Business of Dance on your favorite platform and take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.
This podcast is brought to you by the Business of Dance online mentorship program to help aspiring professional dancers create their dream dance careers.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.